Hi everyone, it's BB, and wow, did a lot happen in that last video. Let's see, we got kicked out of school, we murdered someone, and we found out Hector's a grey mage, so we were right all along. And then there was another grey mage, who sounded awfully familiar, I think. So, I think I know what's gonna happen. So, without further delay, let's get to it. Each day was a tiny fragment of the hells below. Ash ate snow, lucky in easy access to any source of water. Food was a luxury she could not afford given the speed of her travel. Each day she thought she would collapse, and each day she found herself pushing forward, pushing harder. She swore that with each day that passed, she grew faster. As she arrived at the city gates, she felt as much the beast as she looked it. She slammed the hilt against the wooden gate.
Hello?
Ash shot a death glare at the head that emerged from atop the wall.
Open the gate, or I'll open it myself.
Ash doubted she could do anything resembling that, but it made for a chilling threat.
Lady Ashmar?
Yes.
Light and shadow? Everyone thought you were dead. Prudence has been inconsolable. Princess Prudence.
I'm alive and I need you to let me in. Now.
The gate began to slowly rise and Ash felt energy pump through her veins. She blew past the guards and tore towards the palace. Behind her, voices of alarm cried out, but her feet carried her faster than the guards could follow. Something drove her forward. Guards at the palace readied themselves at her approach, recognition absent from their faces.
Stand back.
Oh, you're shitty guards, aren't you? The force of the command led the guards to respond, stepping away as Ash erupted through the doors into the throne room. Do they just do that to anyone who wants to get through? If so, they're really shit guards. Well, hello there. Standing beside the king, in the palace of a court mage, stood Hector. Ash moved on instinct. She raised the blade and each footstep carried her, flying, towards the grey mage.
Hector!
The last thing she saw as she blacked out was Hector, wide-eyed.
She's moving!
Ash felt sick. No, this was more than that. She felt like cloth shred to tatters.
Hold her down.
She felt a distant pressure as pain racked her body. The world refused to focus, remain in a violent blur. Pain seared through her every nerve.
What's happening to her?
It's the effects of a technique called Grey Burn. I recognized the effects as clear as day from the moment I saw her in the courtroom. It shocked me so much I couldn't move.
Are you sure it wasn't shock from her charging with a sword?
I've never heard of any save for a grey mage using the technique, though in theory a person in a pair should be able to replicate the technique by drawing on their pair's pool.
The words came to her as though they were being spoken in a distant room.
The strain on the body is enormous. Likely it is why she survived.
And it might be why she dies as well.
Ash reached out, her mind clawing like a beast full of magic. Suddenly, she felt it, a spark of utter white. And the pain began to fade. A soft darkness came over her, and she slipped back into unconsciousness. Reality dawned on her. Hector. Prude. Ash was bolt upright in the blink of an eye.
Hector is a grey mage.
Her eyes met Hector, holding an open book sitting beside her bed.
How?
Defend with the sword or cast a spell. Ash focused and drew upon her well of power. With practiced ease, she began to knit a spell in her hand. Suddenly, pain lanced up in her arm, her fingers stiffening. The spell faded a moment later.
How did you know?
Hector rose from his seat, stepping forward.
Stay back, you bastard!
The door opened and Prude stepped inside.
Ash, you're awake!
Prude, you need to know something.
I'm a Grey Mage.
I don't think anyone followed us here.
Close the door and lock it. Have Belinda and Elfnod wait outside, preferably talking. I don't want anyone listening to us.
Wow, I didn't think I'd been gone long enough for you to switch back to princess mode.
Prude shot Ash a dark look.
Not right now, Ash.
Ash turned to tell Belinda and Elfnod what to do, only to find the pair had apparently heard the command. That made things easier.
Start talking.
Prude was glaring at Hector, a maelstrom of emotions behind her eyes.
I have been meaning to tell you, ever since we encountered that Grey Mage.
The one I killed?
Both of them turned to Ash.
You did what?
I murdered someone!
I killed someone. I still haven't really digested that properly. I feel like I'm in shock every time I think about it, like the whole thing wasn't real. Maybe it wasn't.
Ash, you're babbling.
What? Oh, goddess, this must be what it's like to be Hector.
No comment.
I fought him. I used Hector's sword.
Yes, you had it with you when he charged the courtroom.
Then I stabbed him. But he didn't die. Then I did a type of magic. I have no idea what it was. Was it shadow? Was it light? Was it gray? Perhaps it was witch magic.
What did you do, Ash?
I breathed in power from my rose. And then I breathed black, flowery fire.
The two stared, wide-eyed. It was Prude who recovered first.
I am sorry, Ash, but we came in here to discuss something else.
Oh, you might have murdered someone, but that can wait. She turned back to Hector.
You are a Grey Mage. What does that mean? Did you kill someone?
No, never. Nothing like that. My parents were members of the cult. Neither was a Grey Mage themselves. You see, there's something wrong with Grey Mages. All of them. No matter what they do, they cannot get the organs to work quite right.
Ash thought back to the desiccated body of the Grey Mage she had fought.
They had theorized that a child, raised as a Grey Mage, allowed to literally grow into the power, would lack this flaw. They had planned that their child, whichever magic it was born with, the opposite would give their life to turn them into a Grey Mage.
Oh God, your parents did that to you? Wait, weren't you an orphan?
Oh. So both his parents... So that means he wasn't a mage. Hector's frown deepened.
I was born without any magic.
A hand lay across his chest.
3 hearts beat within my breast.
Oh, goddess.
Ash could only nod.
Why couldn't you have told me all of this?
I have been hiding this for my entire life. Hiding it from one more person seemed only natural.
You could have told me. You could have said something. We've been paired for months, Hector.
His voice trailed off as his eyes looked away, unable to meet with Prude's. Ash felt a little awkward being here for this.
The Grey Mage in your room. It was there because it recognized you? Is that why they're after us? Is it all because of you?
Prude,
Stop.
Tears began to trickle down Prude's cheeks.
I don't even know you.
Without another word, Prude stormed out the door, blowing past the startled Belinda and Elfnod. Seeing Prude in so much pain made Ash's own heart feel sunk in within her chest. Ash turned to Hector, who was distraught, looking near to tears himself. The righteous fire burning inside of her had fizzled. We'll comfort him, because we're nice.
Hector, I'm sorry. Somehow, I've had suspicions about you for a while. But everything I have seen of you tells me you're nothing like the creature I fought.
Yeah, you're not all boily.
You're a good man.
Ash cocked her head for a moment, thinking.
Good enough, anyway. And Prude really deeply cares about you. That's why she's so hurt. But she'll get over it.
I never meant to hurt her. Light and shadows. I would do anything to have kept her from walking away.
Let her blow off some steam. That's my advice.
Give her time.
Time passed and silence fell. It was more than a little awkward for Ash as she stood in the dark of that room with Hector, lingering quietly, brooding. Her mind wandered, and for a moment, she had the chance to recall an offhand remark from during the fight. Ash cocked her head to the other side.
Wait, what was that about another Grey Mage?
Hector led Ash through the castle and to one of the guest bedrooms, where the alleged dead Grey Man had been discovered.
I have never seen anything like this.
Ew. It wasn't how she dealt with the one she faced, but it was certainly dead. The state of decay that the body was in helped her to understand that it was a Grey Mage. They were already in the castle, even with how fast she had travelled here.
Whatever did this is something entirely new. Or perhaps there's a type of witch magic that allows for the warping of metal.
What makes you say that? Couldn't this have been done by a Grey Mage or Paladin amplifying their strength?
Why two Grey Mages would be fighting one another, she didn't know.
No. Look at this.
Hector beckoned Ash to examine the butt of the metal spine.
It's hollow.
Yes, it appears to have been a medallion. The chain is still intact around her neck.
Are you saying someone weaponized her jewelry?
They warped it into an incredibly thin wire, piercing through the mage's spine and pinning them to the back wall.
Ouch!
This was magic, though I will be thrice damned if I could begin to identify what type.
Earthbending. Ash noted it.
I'm going to go find some dead roses.
Should I come with you?
No. Stay here. Stay near Prude. Protect her and her mother if it comes to that.
Do you think she'll have told the king about me?
I don't really know what she's going to do right now.
I'll go find her then.
The two parted. Ash passed the rear entrance to the courtroom on her way to the garden, idly clenching her hand, wishing for a weapon.
Ash?
Ash nearly hit the brickwork of the ceiling as she leapt so high.
It is you! Oh, I thought they said you were dead or something. Eaten by gray mages. You look well, considering what you've been through.
I'm tougher than I look, I suppose.
Aku beamed a shining grin as she rushed forward to embrace her. She was only a few years older than Ash, but she had been the court mage of the kingdom since Ash's 7th year. Aku had been an early graduate, performing the pairing ritual nearly 7 years early. And again 6 years early. 2 attempts had been enough for her. Comfortable adopting the title of hedge mage, she found employment as a court mage in Celeste.
Oh, it is good to see you.
You too, though I'm surprised to see you here still. Didn't you have another contract?
Aku's eyes twitched.
Well, I couldn't very well leave the kingdom without a mage while you and Prude were made to stay at the mountain. Not after my years of service here.
You couldn't find work, could ya?
But now you're all here. 5 full mages.
Yeah, she couldn't find work. Aku's eye twitched again.
It's wonderful.
Ah, yes.
It's great. I mean, now I can move on to other things. Plenty of places looking for hedge mages. Just...
Aku shuddered violently and she took in a deep breath.
Oh, just so many.
What about the position you had lined up?
Oh, yes. The position I had lined up.
Aku's eye fluttered and she gave a wide grin.
Let's just say that I didn't stay here only because of years of dedication.
Aku took a deep breath.
Maybe I'll go back to the mountain for a bit. I might be able to get a temporary position teaching. Heck, I might even participate in the next pairing ritual. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Ash looked at the mark on the back of her hand.
You really don't.
Well, I'm gonna go get lunch. You take care, Ash.
You too, Aku.
Where are you heading, Ash?
Ash turned sharply to meet the gaze of a tiny blonde girl who beamed at her with an enormous grin.
Ashley!
Goddess be praised! You're alive! When Prude told me what happened...
The two embraced. Sorry, I might have skipped a little bit.
You looked in a rush. Where are you going?
The gardens. I need to be ready for tonight.
Oh, Goddess be praised. Don't tell me that there are more of those creatures we found.
Yes, I'm sure there are. I have no idea why they're here or what they are planning, but I have to stop it.
What do you need from the garden?
Dead roses.
For once, something magical I can help with.
Huh?
I actually just changed out the flowers in the courtroom. Plenty of dead roses there.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. Could I convince you to have them brought to my room?
Of course.
In that case, I need to go prepare some things for the spell. Thank you again.
Anything a lowly servant like me can do to help. But will this be enough to protect us from the attack?
I don't know, but if nothing else, we'll be ready to fight.
Goddess, it's good to see you safe.
You too, Ashley.
They hugged once more before parting. Returning to her room, Ash felt resolve flare inside her chest. The fear was gone. She knew that she knew what had to be done. She wouldn't cower in fear anymore. They would face her on familiar ground. She had allies. She had friends. She had magic. I'm just gonna stop it there. Oh, I think that's 3 days later, maybe? Not sure how long I've been recording for. We haven't been recording that long. Let's just keep going.
Prude, could you pass me the cheese?
Sure.
Oh. Well, they're happy again.
Do you mind if I finish off the pastries?
Go ahead. I've had my fill of sweets.
Mind if we split it?
Mm-hmm.
Ashley nodded and cut the last jam tart in half, and in one half to Belinda. Ash let out a long sigh as she looked around her room. Dozens of vases filled to bursting with black-petaled roses.
Don't let it get you down, Ash. Looks like a right proper necromancer's room now.
And if we are attacked, I'll have no want of armaments.
And it gave you lots of practice with your spell, right?
All were reasonable points, but somehow the distinct lack of an opportunity to show her iron resolve had doused Ash's burning temper. No, there was no somehow about it. This was utterly humiliating. Why hadn't they been attacked? There had to be some sort of explanation for the cult's behaviour, not to mention they had turned up absolutely nothing on this third party. The last 3 nights had been so uneventful that the king had advised they take a day off to relax. And so here they were, relaxing after 3 days of quiet. Alfnod smeared butter on a slice of toast and laughed at a joke Ashley had made. Ash had missed it, lost in her thoughts. Prude and Hector were as entangled as they had been before their fight. Time heals all wounds, and apparently when a pair has 2 pools of light to pull from, wounds heal quickly. Hector hadn't shared his secret with the rest of the group, but they had sensed the tension, even as it had dissolved. This was the first morning eating as a group again, their number having grown with the addition of Ashley.
So what do you mighty mages have planned for today?
I'm supposed to appear in court with Prudence. We are the acting court mages today.
Me and Elfnod have been doing that the last few days. It's painfully boring.
I've had worse duties.
Well, I didn't mean it was actually that bad, but after the events and training we've had over the last few months, it seems...
Mundane.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad I'm not the only one in shock over how calm it's been.
I could always start training you again, Belinda. You've got plenty of room to learn.
We'll think about it.
I prefer the quiet.
I have to disagree. I would rather have this whole thing over and done with. It is quiet, but it is the quiet before the storm.
Ash nodded. She agreed, and the group seemed to chew in thought for a minute.
We need to find a grey mage. It's the only way to find out what's going on.
How exactly do you propose we do that?
Simple. We get the Rod of Finding.
And how exactly are we planning to have the heads agree to that?
A moment of silence fell.
Actually, I have an idea. We have your mother request their presence for assistance with a delicate matter. We have her tell them that she believes she has found a grey mage, but wants to verify without having to cut them open. They come, and when they use the staff, we get them to identify any other grey mages in the city.
We won't be able to convince them to search the city unless we can prove a grey mage is present. In the state of decay the grey mage we found...
Don't worry, we'll have a grey mage.
Are we gonna use him as bait? Prude looked confused for a moment, and then she shook her head, eyes as wide as they were able to open.
Ash, no.
It's the best solution.
What exactly is the best solution?
I too am behind a bit on this conversation.
Ash, they won't just let him go. If they find out what he is, then at the very least, they'll take him captive.
No, she's right. It's the best plan we have so far.
Who?
I suppose now is as good a time as any.
Straightening his back with an almost mocking formality, Hector explained.
I am a grey mage.
The silence was deafening.
What? Like the fellow what was pinned to the wall?
Yes.
Nah. She was all swollen and held together by needle and thread. You look...
Ashley gestured vaguely.
healthy?
Well, thank you, I think.
So, I'm guessing that he has some sort of tragic backstory behind his greyness. Lest you two would be all in a bit more of a panic.
Oh, like maybe he and his old lover were dying, and she gave him her heart so he could go on living.
I think he's a tad too young for that. Plus, how desperate he was to get paired. You don't act like that if you have love lingering in you.
Maybe one of his parents? No, he wouldn't have been an orphan. I remember when he first arrived. Oh, both parents!
She's pretty quick on the uptake.
Both parents? Why both?
Because he was born without magic, duh!
Hector's face betrayed shock as Belinda turned to him. Alfnod looked rather stricken as well.
Yes, it was. Both of my parents, actually.
Oh, was I right?
Oh, that's sad, but was I right?
In a sense. They gave up their lives to make a weapon.
Hector stared passively forward, displaying no emotion. His silence spoke well enough that the comment had disquieted him.
It's decided then. Prude, have your mother send the letter. I am sure they'll arrive within the month, even if it's only for courtesy after having thrown us out. Once we have the location of a Grey Mage, Elfnod, Belinda, and I will track it down and spy out some information. Prude will stay with Hector. If it comes to it, we'll aid in your escape, Hector.
No one said a word. Everyone simply nodded. They followed her commands as naturally as soldiers their general. The passion, the burning resolve returned to Ash's chest.
Soon we'll have some answers.
Whew. Oh, God, is that another 3 days later? Oh, the night. I think it's that night. Whatever. I'm going to stop recording here. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!